Alright, here's the video review for Transformers Prime Deluxe Class Sergeant Kup. He's out. Go look for him. I couldn't find Rumble, sadly, so I don't have Rumble yet. But I have this guy, and he's actually quite cool. We've also seen this mold repainted as Ironhide. It's coming out in the Arms Micron line, and like many other figures that people have wanted, there's speculation that Ironhide's going to remain Japanese exclusive, at least for a little while. I know that if you had Ironhide pre-ordered at Big Bad Toy Store, they sent out an email last week, I think it was. There's a thread on TFW about it, that Ironhide was not in the assortment and it was actually going to be Kup instead, which I think we kind of knew already. But yeah, they're not wave mates or case mates or even things. There was apparently some talk that there was no plans for Ironhide in America. A little bit of a shame, but honestly the mold works as both. And there's a couple little things you can do to distinguish the two between each other if you do end up getting both. But as of right now, the only way to get the Ironhide version of him is through the Arms Micron line. But here he is. You see he's got a couple of his cannons just attached here to the back. There is like a little gap here in the back of the truck, which is a little disappointing. They may have been able to do like a little flip-out panel somewhere. Maybe even attach it under here, maybe. But it's not there. Because what you're seeing here is actually his two shins are facing each other in the back of the cab. And that's what's causing that little triangular gap there, arrowhead-shaped gap there. You can kind of see here's the fake windshield. It's going to be his chest later on, and here's his lower abdomen, which, as you can see, has been slid down. But yeah, good rolling action. He does have his crotch piece here, his cod piece here, kind of sticks out a little bit, or sticks down a little bit, but it does have plenty of clearance once you put him down. He's got probably about a quarter of an inch clearance from the table. And you see he's got a couple of weapon peg holes on the side. If you want to attach the cannons to the side of the vehicle, you can do that as well. So yeah, to transform him, you want to start off, you come back here. I'm going to lift up the back of this hood and pop this hole right through here, this whole section up, like that. Just lift that up, kind of bring it forward a little bit. Then you'll come here, you can see here are his fists. I'm going to pop those pieces out to the side. And here's where the arms get a little crazy. Because you lift this up, and the arms, you actually take the fist piece and fold it up like that. Which, as you can see, here's the front of him, so you want to flip that up and then rotate it, or you want to rotate the wheel, flip it over so you're looking at the underside of the truck. Flip the wheel up and rotate the arm around so it's facing like that. And again, flip the wheel up, pull the arm up, and then rotate it so it's facing forward. And you've got the arms pretty much taken care of. Now back here, you want to take the whole rear end of the truck, lift it up. You'll see there's this piece right here at the post. This is going to plug into that. And right underneath that is the back part of his hips. So you lift the whole thing up here at what will be the waist joint, but then you see there's a little pin right here. You want to take this whole thing and, you can slide it. Yeah, go ahead and slide this up as well. You see the post will slide up as well, but take this piece right here, push it up like that to right under the windshield, and then you're going to, instead of bringing down just the hips, you're going to bring down the whole hip assembly from the back here. You can see here's what it looks like after the fact. You can see it's folded down. This piece, the peg used to fit in that back piece. You want to bring that whole assembly down versus just the hips, like that. And then split the legs right here. Rotate them to the front. And then for the feet, you want to rotate this panel down, rotate the foot down, and then flip it up. It's on a ball joint. So again, take the rear end of the truck panel, flip it down, take the foot, flip it down like this, and then rotate it up. Which is really kind of interesting the way they make that fold up on that ball joint. And it does give him a lot more range of movement. But between this and the ball joint there in the ankle, you can get him in a lot of fairly stable poses with that. And so we pretty much got that done. Let's come up here to the top. And right here, bring this back. And these are a couple pieces here on the side of his head. You want to take these and slide these out like this. And again, if you want to distinguish Ironhide and Kup, what you can do is you take the arms, you slide the shoulders up like that, and lock into place up there. You can, instead of folding this down and around like it should be, you can take this piece, kind of fold it down behind the head, and you can have Kup look like this. You can even kind of angle these up a little bit. They're on little hinge to give him a slightly different look from Ironhide. Also, the arm weapons, you can mount them. The little peg holes from the side of the vehicle mode end up on the arms. So if you want, you can mount the cannons on his arms like Ironhide. Or you can combine them like this. Either one can go on the back. Just plug together like this, and then go in his hand as a large rifle. And I think Kup, if you have both and you want to distinguish him, you can do something like this with Kup. Give him the shoulder pads and the rifle. He will end up having like the shell of the truck on his back, but that's not really any worse than a lot of modern mainstream figures. And then you can have Kup look like this and look a little different than Ironhide. But if you want to do it the proper way, the instructions way, you want to leave these down, and you come up here, pop this up. And it kind of takes a little bit of effort to get it up over the thing. But you fold this down, flip this back, and this piece, I'm going to bring this forward before you get it in. These little tabs right here are going to plug in behind the shoulder pieces, and there's a couple little, you can kind of see there's a couple little bumps here on the front that are going to peg into these two little receptacles here on the upper windshield. So you just fold that down and get it so these come behind the shoulder pads and these tabs go in front of the windshield, and it pegs together just like that. And then there's a little peg on the bottom of the windshield here that's going to peg right into here. And then if the official instructions just have you fold this back and leave it sitting back like that. And it's not horrible in robot mode, but there's just this giant piece that if it could fold down like this wouldn't be so bad, but you see it kind of naturally wants to spring back up, as well as the fact that like the more you do that, you risk chipping some of the green paint off this plastic. What you can do, so there's no pin through here, it just snaps on. You can, if you choose, pop this up, just flip it over, snap it right back on, and then you can fold it down along the back. It's an extra step. It's not supposed to do that. It's not in the instructions. It kind of makes him something of a parts former, but it looks a lot nicer in robot mode without having that sticking out like that. So it's up to you. The drawback in doing this, I like the look of the big shoulder guards and the way the cab or the hood comes over the shoulders, but it does, as you can see, limit his. If you want to pose him looking to the side, you can only get so much of an angle before his head just disappears behind the shoulder pad. But he does have a rotating head. You can turn it right there. And then here he is officially with the cannons on his side. There's the robot mode. And one of the things I was talking about the cannon. One of the things that's really nice in the molding is they're not solid. They're hollow pieces. You can kind of see the molding there. Let's see if I can get focus on this and get a little better shot. But one of the things you'll notice is how this up here at the top, the hollow part kind of flares out and then angles back in, which seems, like why did they do that? It does kind of follow the shape of the engine, but also the way that the tab comes here, there's some extra plastic that comes up on the arm, as you can see right here. And normally with something like this, if this were solid, you try to peg that in, and it would have to sit off to the side or sit weirdly because it wouldn't not go all the way in because of that panel. But it's molded just perfectly, that hollow point. So when you plug this in, you can see it kind of, that extra part goes right up, the fender goes right up into that piece. It's molded specifically right around that little notch piece, so he can hold his gun normally without it sitting crooked at an angle or anything weird because of the extra plastic there, which has bothered me on some figures where they've been really nice, but then they can't hold their weapons straight because of how they're molded. And this is cut out in exactly the way we need to. Both of them are, so it doesn't matter which one you plug in the back or on which side. So he can hold that gun straight. It's a minor detail, but something that could have easily been overlooked, and I'm glad it wasn't, because it really lets him hold things properly, and it looks a lot better. And it's just classy. It's just classy that somebody saw that and said, you know what, that could be a problem, let's do something about it. You don't really think about some of the little things that go into these designs sometimes, and that's a little one that I think really worked, and at least really worked for me, and I think it's really cool that they did that. So yeah, there he is overall. With the panel folded down. I like him. I can totally see how he evokes Kup as well as Ironhide. Will I get Ironhide? I'm not sure. I might get him. I might import him from Japan. It depends on when he's due out and what else I've got coming in and how much other money I need to spend, etc., etc. But yeah, I'd be interested in getting an Ironhide. But it is a really nice mold. I think it looks just fine as Kup. He does kind of have the kind of face and the Kind of looks like Roadbuster's face here on his chest. Much like Rumble kind of has a Gurren Lagann style face going on in the middle of his chest. Little gremlin-looking face on him. But yeah, Poseability, he's got ball-jointed shoulders, ball-jointed elbows, so you can get... I don't know why he'd want to go like that, but he can turn his arm around and shoot behind him if he had to. But you can get a lot of decent Poseability. The shoulder pads block a little bit of arm movement, but not much. There's actually a lot more Poseability there than you'd expect, and also because they're on that hinge joint, if you want to get his arm more forward than it can do all the way up in the shoulder joint, you can slide that down just a little bit and get his arm a little bit more rotation going on there. The head is on just a swivel, which again kind of makes sense because he's not really going to be able to look around the shoulder pads very much. The hips are on ball joints and then swivels, so you get a lot of good range of movement in the upper leg. The knees are just plain old hinge joints, so there's not a lot of... can't twist a lot, but with that upper thigh swivel, it works out pretty well. No waist joint, unfortunately, just because of the way everything slides together. But again, it kind of more than makes up for it. Again, yeah, like I said, the upper body is kind of locked in place for the most part, but the shoulders have some good motion in them. And then again, the foot, the ankle on that ball joint with the also hinge back here lets you get some good stable poses out of him, and you can get some neat stuff going on. You can get him in like the kneeling shooter pose. Although again, coming up, it can't come too high on that because the way the hip piece flares out, it does kind of block the leg unless you go out and around it, and that just gets a little silly looking. But yeah, see if we can't get something cool going on here. Of course, I'm sure if he had the weapon in his hand, I could stand up a little bit better. Oh, wrong way. That would be why. Again, see, that's what I was talking about. You can't plug it in this way because of the way that plastic butts up against it. But this way is just fine. Da-da-da-da-da-da. There you go. I don't know why you'd want him in that position, but he's got some good Poseability there. So yeah, definitely, this guy I think is definitely worth a pickup if you get him. If you find him anywhere. The waves hitting, they're being found in Walmarts and Targets and stuff, so have they been found in Target yet, or is it just Walmart? I think Dreadwing's been found. I know Dreadwing's been found at Walmart. There was, we found him here in Richmond, and Gog Dog just found him in Chicago, like today or yesterday. Today, I think. So yeah, so all the new stuff's out. Keep an eye out looking for it. But there he is, Transformers Prime Sergeant Kup.